A very good morning to you on this 23rd day of October. It is a Thursday morning, and we've had some wonderful weather out here in the Bay. If you've joined us, you've joined the Fifth Connection, where we talk you through the storyline of the scriptures. And this morning, we conclude a paragraph in Ephesians, the 4th chapter, verse number 24. We are often challenged to land the plane. What does that mean? To land the plane. To stop talking and being given to a lot of chirping about life and living. Rather, that we get on with life and living. Get with the program. Get into it. Live it out. Show what you know. Go and grow. We put such a low premium on living out the way. We are followers of the way. We live out the way in the context of the real world, at the rock face of what is really real. And in this 4th chapter, we have no exception to that. Because Paul, the writer, is encouraging these Ephesian believers to pursue truth together. Because as they pursue truth together around the scriptures, something wonderfully unique happens. Unity is fostered because the procedural process of perspectival participation is engaged in. It's not just a lot of talk, not just blowing a lot of hot air, but it is really living. It is grappling with the grit and the gruesomeness of what life can throw. And so in this paragraph, going from verse 20 to 24, the writer has locked onto the positive precept of what it looks like to move from deformation to crucifixion living, to cross-shaped living, a life which is an expression of the one who is the embodiment of identity transformation. He is none other than the incarnate Christ, the Lord Jesus, the one who is the appointed one who can salvage every and any area of our lives. The scriptures has the total cosmos in view when God's salvation is fully taught and fully orbed and taught in its totality, not just a piece of it, not just part of it to satisfy the curiosity, but the whole of it. And so in 22-24, he talks about the positive precept, how that we have learned Christ in the context of community, not just embraced a bunch of disambiguated statements that are clear, that are precise. They are called propositional statements about what the content of belief is. But rather, our lives are postured according to a disposition, an attitude, a way of embracing the truth right inside of the white heat of what life can throw. So the writer says, assuming that you have heard about Christ and taught in him as the truth is in Jesus. Now that's the killer line, of course. Truth is in a person. You can't get more base than that. You can't go beyond that base of reality. Truth is in a person, and that is the biblical position. Followers of the way, watch the one who is the way, and then pattern their lives after the processes that are engaged in to move from one degree of glory to another. And so in verse 22 and verse 23, we are to put off the old. We are to drop and dress. Drop the old and dress up with the new, and be restored, be renewed in terms of recovery in the disposition of your capacity for understanding. Because the blessings of the Lord are not heated up old stuff as brought onto the front burner from the back burner. It is new. It is novel. It is fresh. It bristles with life. And that's why somebody who has the freshness of the ministry and the work of the Spirit of God in their life exude a zest for living, something that's alive, something that is attractive. We don't live with external constraints on us, but rather we live with internal restraints. The power of community is a restraint on the inside that drives our lives. And talk to me about the power of community, the power of relationship. I spent some time yesterday morning with a family member who had just lost a loved one. And there was this clinging to, sharing the experience with another loved one, another cherished one. Because you see, we are put in the context of community to share our lives. And last night he said, I want to view a sunset on this day as I've scattered the ashes of my wife across the crashing waves. There's something about small group and community and dialogue and discernment that is extremely unique and special. That's why now in verse number 24, the writer moves to this new pattern. And he says, put on the new self. What is the new self? The new way of living, which is Christ. The new way of living that is Christ. Attached to the ever-increasing capacity of the new self. Call it the future self. Don't misunderstand me now. You're not self-improving, but you're growing out of one phase into another. The way the worm grows and spins a cocoon, and its body metastasizes, and that changing of form and spinning the cocoon is something that that worm will have to break out of to be a butterfly, to be a moth. Put on the new self, created after the likeness of God. You are called into being in synchronicity, in sync with the source of all being. You are to be created, recreated after the likeness of the source of all being, the likeness of God, because you are an imager of God in true righteousness and holiness. You are called to be in sync with the source of all being, in real correspondence. Not a simulacrum of correspondence, not a make-believe correspondence or copy, but a real correspondence that is typical. It stands as a type, and it is transformational, because that's what holiness is about. It's about transforming and being able to separate out the grain from the chaff. Being able to separate the better from the good and the best from the better. We are called to be and live in sync with the source of being, in real correspondence that is typical of the Christian life and transformational. That is what is typical about living according to the Tao, according to the way. You see, this pattern is a pattern for a new networking amongst the people of God, a new way of relating in small group, one-on-one, peer-on-peer, encouragement of one another, and not being overly dependent on clerical George to tell us what to think, but to learn in the context of community how to think. Because the community, as they engage around the scriptures, become, listen to this now, the guardrails for walking in the way that is Christ. The community is, as they engage around the scriptures. The scriptures is the instrumentation that God uses to orient our minds vertically and horizontally, to balance our minds according to the core that centers us. And what centers us? Our continuity of contact with the source of all being, our faith. Not a set of 10 statements that we believe, or 25 fundamentals, or 500 doctrines. It's centering our life around a person. Centering our lives around a process made up of perspectives and participation in the context of what is really real. We don't make as if we are Christians. We are to live out the reality of what it means to be salt and to be light. But in order to be salt and to be light, you need to be fit to be. You need to be fitted to be. And how are you fitted to be? Well, there needs to be relative health. Because if there's no health, the salt will lose its savor, its saltiness. The light will grow dim. It will be hidden under a bushel rather than out in the marketplace and the market space where we are to be a testimony. The world is to imitate what we have on the inside of the assembly. They need to see who we are and what we are. But if that testimony of relating around the scriptures is so weak, no wonder we can't speak coherently and consistently and relevantly in the market space. We're so out of touch with our world. As someone said to me yesterday, I'm so out of touch with my grandkid, you know. Well, how about getting with the program and listening up? What is that child saying? And getting hooked into where that kid is at. That's what it will cost you to be in touch with your world. Not to imitate your world, to be in touch with it so that you can speak a word, a fitly crafted word into the life situation. Oh, when they watch us live in these networks that are really real, they can pattern their networks after what they see in the family of God. But oh, our families are so fragmented, fractured, disoriented, discombobulated. They need to see something. They need to see a pattern for living. And you know a pattern for living? You can smell it a mile away. It doesn't reek. It doesn't carry the stench of sewer gas. Rather, it's got the fragrant aroma of Hugo Boss. Oh, my wife gave me a present eons ago, a bottle of Hugo Boss. Hugo Boss that lasted a lifetime because, the fragrant aroma. Now, you may not like fragrant aromas, but you can smell something that is real a mile away because it smells different and it will have a different taste to it. If we are to be salt and light Oh, then we need to have some good tastiness to our lives. We're not even the hors d'oeuvres that people can enjoy because our lives are so fractured. Well, how about learning how to transform? You don't want to die as a worm. You want to grow into a butterfly, into a beautiful creature that morphs all the time because I'm changing. A buddy of mine wrote a song and that was sung at our wedding, my wedding. And the song was about He is changing you. He's changing you to be a better man, to be a better woman. How is He transforming your life this morning? Are you in the process of change? Or is there a stench? Is sewer gas blowing from your life and not you go, boss? Well, it's high time you start living it up. Start being what God has called you to be so that a fragrant aroma can come from your life. Put on the new self, created after the likeness of God in true righteousness and holiness, and become the real thing. You are born an original, someone has said. Don't die a copy, as in a photocopy. Oh, we love to copy others instead of being originals. God is in the process of bringing life out of death and newness out of staleness and vitality out of mortality. Are you part of that this morning? As you go into this day, be on the lookout for opportunities for your aroma to rub off on others. Aroma to rub off on others, not the stench of deadness and dead living. I trust that as you go with God this morning, you will enjoy Him this day. Goodbye for now.